Good morning, good afternoon. It's morning for people who wake up early, right? My name is Hari. I'm part of Concentrix. This is a company which is focused on integrated solutions. I'm not here to sell anything from the company perspective. I'm a practitioner by heart. Really do a lot of work in digital transformation, and that's what I'm going to present to all of you guys. I'll start off with a story. Roughly about, roughly about 4 weeks back, I was in one of the B schools, one of the IIMs, and there were like 30, 35 executives, in that forum. The person on the other side asked a question. He said, "What do you think is digital transformation?" To 30, 35 people out there, all senior executives. Believe it or not, we got at least 30 answers there amongst the 35 executives. So that tells you two things. One, everybody is vested and interested in digital transformation. Two, everybody has a very different perspective about digital transformation. So if I ask this audience here, what do you think is digital transformation? Everybody's going to give a very, very different perspective. Somebody's going to say cloud computing. Somebody's going to say data and analytics. Somebody is going to say automation, so on and so forth, right? So whilst we are here in this forum, believe me, even globally, digital transformation means different things to different people. I'm not here to solve that problem. I'm not going to give you one answer to say this is what digital transformation is, but I think the appreciation of the fact that digital transformation is a complicated subject, it means different things to different people, is something that we as practitioners, we as service providers, we as stakeholders should really keep in mind as we go on this journey, right? So I want to leave you with that thought. If you look at this slide, digital transformation from a landscape standpoint, from a trend standpoint, is a huge market. 30 billion as of last year. It's going to be close to about 150 billion is what people are talking about, right? Again, these are estimates. The numbers don't matter. What matters is this is something that's really going to take the world by storm, and each one of us is really going to be part of this journey. Yeah? A lot of people understand maturity. There are different ways in which you can skin the cat, as they say. The way I see this is organizations which are not digital natives start off by being digitally unaware. And finally, you get on the curve to become a digital expert. What's important here is it's a journey. Right? Organizations are not going to get this from point A to point B just at one go. They have to traverse this journey over a period of time. We work with a lot of clients. Some of the industries are naturally inclined to be slightly more digitally aware. Some of the industries are still back there. Construction, for example. We work with a large construction organization, which is probably on level 2 here. Banking, because of regulatory issues, because of higher CX, is far, far higher on the journey. It's on point 4, right? So depending on the industry that you are in, digital transformation is going to be very, very relevant in terms of the kind of use cases, the kind of things that you're really going to go after from a journey perspective, right? I'm going to walk you through an example. This is digital transformation for a very, very large bank. It's a European-based bank. They also have their presence here in India. What are the big drivers that the bank really was looking at? And I think, I've been here for the last 2 days, yesterday and today. We spoke to a lot of people from the banking industry. A lot of banks today struggle with legacy systems. One of the major drivers for digital transformation, regulatory challenges. There's a lot of ask saying that, are you compliant from a regulatory standpoint? Okay. Data sources. There's so much of data flowing in, structured data, unstructured data. Do you have a view on how the data is really looking? If your data is not in place, infrastructure is not right in place, lack of insights. Where are you going to get your insights? Your insights are all siloed, right? Digitally unaware as to how can I improve my entire CX? How can my end customers have a much better view of what this entire process can look like? And finally, multiple people saying the same thing in different ways. Broken workflows, right? So this bank that we worked with, actually had all of these problems. And the biggest problem that they had actually was regulatory. They were being asked questions by the regulator, and they had no answers, right? So sometimes that becomes a necessity, right? This slide is not to say that, hey, we at Concentrix did some great work. That's not the idea, okay? You can read through the slide. The point that I want to make is digital transformation does not have a single lever that you can pull to solve any of these problems. So if you look at this slide, there were really 4 big pillars that helped them on this journey. One, digitalization. A lot of their processes were manual. They were all broken. There was a lot of paperwork, even for a European bank. If you have paperwork, you're not going to be on this journey of transformation. 2, automation. Huge focus on automation so that they could improve their efficiencies, they could make the right kind of decisions from a digital perspective. 3, how do you derive insights with all the data that's going into the organization? So what kind of data analytics can you really bring to the table? And finally, is really AI and cloud. A lot of times, at least when I speak to clients, the 4th one is the first one that people talk about, right? I'm on cloud. I'm transforming. Honestly, that's not transformation, right? Being on cloud is one of the levers that you should be thinking about when you're talking about digital transformation, right? So when we worked with this bank, we had to get all of these pillars and all the use cases under these pillars in the right form for them to get the kind of savings that you can see on the bottom of this chart, which is humongous, which is almost 40 million that they saved, not in a day or 2, but over a 5-year period, right? So going back to my previous slide, digital transformation is a journey. You got milestones. You got pit spots. You got to walk through the journey so that you really achieve what you want to achieve, right? It's got multiple use cases. You can't pick up one use case and say, I finished this, I'm on the cloud, so I'm digitally transformed. I'm doing data analytics, I'm digitally transformed. It doesn't work like that, right? How do you integrate all your use cases? Don't give up on the journey. There could be use cases that don't work. That doesn't mean that the journey is wrong. When you're going from point A to point B, you put it on Google Maps, you might stop somewhere. That doesn't mean that the journey is incomplete, right? You've got to make your journey different, right? Third, in my mind, digital transformation is developing an ecosystem for yourself. Because there are multiple use cases, there are multiple competencies involved. If you don't build your ecosystem, you're not going to get to where you want to go. And finally, most important, is resilience and governance, right? DeepSeek. DeepSeek came in. Suddenly people are saying, is this the right AI choice that I made? Right? You made a choice. You've got to stick to it. What kind of governance do you have within the organization? What kind of culture do you have? Are you really ready for digital transformations? A lot of times, we're just looking at the shiny star, like I said, picking up one use case and thinking that this is the way that we should really transform an organization. But that's probably not the way to really do this, right? So think of it as an ecosystem. Think of it as a set of competencies, processes, technology, and people all coming together for you to really get to your journey. Any digital transformation discussion today is incomplete if you don't talk about Gen AI, right? And we believe the same as well. So if you look at Gen AI today, one of the good ways of understanding this is, in my mind, digital transformation is now more business transformation because Gen AI has come in play. Why do I say that? Because Gen AI has democratized what you can see from a technology standpoint. You needed coders, you needed developers to do a lot of things. With OpenAI, with Gen AI, all of that is really going away, right? The focus on tech and people using tech is far more than really figuring out how to do the tech. People who don't get that into the system are going to probably be left behind because now you're talking about business transformation more than digital transformation. So that's an important call out. And because of Gen AI, strategy is now AI-first strategy. It's accessible to everyone, right? Use cases are far more easier to implement. Right? It's a strategic innovation. What used to be customer interactions is more customer insights, right? Because of GenAI really coming in play. When we look at GenAI and the kind of work that we do for our clients, I'm just going to call out a few use cases. Look at the first use case, which is building retail intelligence. This is for a very large CPG organization where they wanted to improve their entire sales. Believe it or not, using GenAI, using unstructured data analytics, we are now able to identify what is the potential of a store in an organization. Okay? That's not an easy thing to do. Okay? A lot of times when people, in fact, yesterday I was talking to one gentleman out here, and they were saying, we started off in a world where we used to do structured data analytics. All of us who have been in that world would know this. When GenAI came in, we started doing unstructured data analytics. Yesterday, the gentleman was actually telling me, now I'm struggling to use GenAI for structured data analytics. Okay? The key with GenAI is you should leverage it not just to do chat stuff, not just to do conversation AI. GenAI has got a far bigger perspective, which is combining structured and unstructured data for you to get the right kind of insights. All the use cases out here that we are calling out is really looking at the higher order usage of GenAI to really make sure that both structured data and unstructured data comes together and you're solving for those kind of problems. What is structured data? It's all your information that comes through, right? Your demographics, so on and so forth. What is unstructured data? Hari speaking to you is all unstructured data. If you are not able to combine the two to solve for your business problem, you're not going to digitally transform anything, right? We are very focused on that. We can do all the conversation AI and stuff like that, but unless and until organizations don't get to the next level of combining structured and unstructured data to solve for problems, you're not going to digitally transform anything, yeah? Like I said at the beginning of the conversation, I'm not selling anything here, but we do have a product. It's called IXLO. There's a booth out there. Some of my colleagues there are amazingly good. They can walk you through a demo of IXLO. But our focus, to be honest, is not just on conversation AI, but really helping you understand how can you combine these two data sources to solve for these kind of problems, right? If you get time, please go to the booth, and they'll walk you through this. Yeah? I'm going to end my conversation with a slide, which looks like a sales slide, but it's not a sales slide. I want to give you a perspective to say that when you are on this journey of digital transformation, you need a playbook, all right? The playbook is going to be right from strategy and design, data and analytics, GenAI offerings, products and platforms. Like I said in the beginning of the conversation, if you don't get all of this together, you're not truly going to transform your organization. It's not going to be one versus the other. You've got to really complement this in a way that for your own organization, which of these levers is far more important than the others, but it's really an ecosystem of all of this coming together to drive home the point from a digital transformation standpoint, okay? Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm also going to call in Ashish, who is a customer from IBDIC. Ashish, onto stage. He's going to walk through their journey on digital transformation. Over to you, Ashish. Thank you so much. And thanks for staying up and listening to me.